Every single filming leak for House of the Dragon reassures me that HBO is going to do this right. Thank you. So if you stay beyond the roaring dinosaur, I'm Rawrist. I love dinosaurs, even though I'm an elderly woman. I know it's weird. I'm going to be talking spoilers, filming leaks for House of the Dragon. Nothing you shouldn't already know if you know the story of Dance of the Dragons, but still. Don't stay past the intro if you don't have spoilers, because that would be silly. You're silly. Okay, now that the spoiler phobes are gone and we can just be our happy, spoiler-loving selves, we are definitely getting, from leaked photos, Kragus Crabfeeder. Yeah. And if you don't know who Crabfeeder is, that's perfectly fine. That probably means you're a normal person and not a psycho, A Song of Ice and Fire, Game of Thrones, history, lore junkie. So, congratulations on that. But not only is it important who he is, but what the implications are for him being in House of the Dragon, which just has me so excited. So if you look at these photos, you will see a beach. It's close to the water, because, beaches generally are. And there are a lot of decomposing corpses. They are staked up, they're hanging, they're in various states of dismemberment. It's kind of a graphic image. And you may look at these leaked photos and go, okay, Rawrist, besides the dismembered corpse is kind of gross and the Essos soldiers, what does this photo mean? First, to answer that, I want to tell you who Crabfeeder is. So Crabfeeder was a Prince Admiral for Myr that fought on the side of the Triarchy and helped conquer the Stepstones. He got his nickname, Crabfeeder, because, well, he had his enemies, the pirates and criminals that dominated the Stepstones before the Three Sisters decided they wanted it, staked on the beaches to drown when the tide came in. With the bodies left to rot, of course, sea life took bites, including crabs, hence the nickname Crabfeeder. Super sexy nickname. But why is Crabfeeder so important? Well, what he did, besides the whole corpse thing, is important. So him existing in the show means some pretty big implications. We know the Dance of the Dragons began in 129 AC because they cast a younger Alicent Hightower and Rhaenyra Targaryen. We know that they're going to show a little bit more backstory to the characters before going into the Targaryen Civil War, and hopefully showing us how the two ladies began to hate each other, though honestly hating a Hightower is a pretty easy thing to do. So since Crabfeeder was killed in 108 AC by Daemon Targaryen, who beheaded him with Dark Sister, one of the ancestral Targaryen Valyrian swords, that means we are going back as much as 108 AC, so 21 years before Dance of the Dragons. But we are going to go back much further than that, because Daemon Targaryen came to the Stepstones in 106 AC after his brother King Viserys I remarried and took Alicent Hightower for his bride, and he was all pissy about that. Instead of celebrating his brother's second marriage, Daemon instead answered the call of Lord Corlys Velaryon, who was also pissed that his daughter was passed over just like his son for the Iron Throne. And together, they talked plans to end the Triarchy's control of the Stepstones. Daemon, of course, was all too happy to help Corlys, as he really, really hated his wife and living in the Vale with her. And also because, as he declared, Dark Sister had a thirst for blood that slaughtering sheep in the Vale just wasn't fulfilling. With Corlys Velaryon leading his impressive fleet of ships and Daemon commanding the army, and of course riding his badass dragon Caraxes, nicknamed the Bloodworm, in 106 AC, Daemon, who had easily recruited men to fight in the war, spent the next 2 years winning victory after victory on the Stepstones and against the Three Sisters who controlled it. Hell, after 108 AC, when he beheaded Crabfeeder, in 109 AC, Daemon controlled 2 of the islands in the Stepstones, with Corlys controlling the waters in between. And of course, because of Daemon's ego and, pride issues, he declared himself king of the Stepstones and the Narrow Sea, with Corlys even going along with it and placing a crown on his head. The Triarchy does get some revenge in 110 AC, and Daemon did get bored of the Stepstones for a time in 111 AC, but that's another story. So, You can see from this the fact that the War of the Stepstones began in 106 AC, Crabfeeder is killed by Daemon, and 108 AC we saw photos of Matt Smith with a different haircut for Daemon. Well, a different wig, but, you know, pretending inverse haircut. Obviously, the Targaryens weren't going around wearing wigs. We are getting a younger Daemon, so they are definitely showing us the War of the Stepstones and more backstory to these characters. And I'm just crossing my fingers. We spend so many episodes back, you know, 103 AC, maybe 106 AC, seeing all that stuff, and then maybe the very last episode is the beginning of the dance. It would be really stupid just to start with the Dance of the Dragons, and I really hope they just don't do flashbacks. I really want them to build up these characters and get people involved in the story, like they did with the main show. Yeah, they messed it up towards the end, but they did a good job building things up. And I have to believe HBO has learned their lesson from what happened with D&D in the main show, and that they are going to build these characters up. And I'm so happy that we are getting more and more evidence that they are invested in the backstory of these characters and leading up to the dance, instead of just going right in it because, oh man, we need dragons and killing and all that. It's like, yeah, I mean, cool, but feeling a lot more for these characters is a good thing. I actually wonder how long we are going to spend on the Stepstones and how much exactly we'll see of the war. If they could spend multiple episodes on it, I would love that. But my guess would probably be just one episode. So we are getting the War of the Stepstones. We're going back at least to 106 AC. We are going to see Daemon being an absolute bamf. I don't know how you could not be excited for this. I mean, it's okay if you're not. You don't have to like or dislike things that other people like or dislike. I mean, probably dislike killing and maiming. Probably not a good idea. But, you know, let me know what you think about Crabfeeder actually being in the show. If you're super excited to see him just messing people up and staking him to the beach and crabs and crawling all over them, because pretty graphic. I understand Game of Thrones was pretty graphic, but I like that they're going above and beyond with that. So yeah, like, subscribe, let me know what you think about these photos in the comment section down below. And if you're excited to see Crabfeeder, I am.